Top 5 judges who behaved badly in court. Number 5. Bryce Rhodes. We're at the Jefferson District Court in Louisville, Kentucky for a volunteering involving defendant Bryce Rhodes. Rhodes has already been indicted on multiple charges, including the murders of 3 people, 2 of them teenage boys. Since his arrest, Rhodes' behavior has been unpredictable and at times violent. As a result, he's wheeled in wearing restraints and a spit mask. Mr. Rhodes, you can just bring him up right here. I haven't come out like this for. I think you know why. Well, you know exactly why. Now listen, stop talking. You have been done. Where do you live at? What are you gonna get? Okay, there are new charges. I'm entering a plea of not guilty on your behalf. Would you like me to read the arrest warrant to you? No, I'm not good. I am setting a bond of $15,000 full cash on those charges, and the other case, once this gets served on you, is going to be dismissed without prejudice as a duplicate. If you have any questions, would you like an appointment with a public defender? Rhodes is wheeled out of court and back into custody. The judge waits to address the prosecutor, saying, "That was a threat against the court. I think that I'm asking the county attorney's office to take that into account and consider what to do with that." As a result of this incident, Rhodes is hit with a new charge of terroristic threatening in the 3rd degree and intimidating a participant in the legal process. His case is ongoing. Number 4. Bass Webb. Next, we're in Paris, Kentucky, where 30-year-old Bass Webb has been charged with 2 counts of attempted murder. This surveillance video, taken outside of a Kentucky jail a week earlier, captured the moment when Webb, a former inmate there who served 3 months on assault charges, accelerated his car and tried to run over 2 jail employees. 1 man was able to get out of the way, but 1 man was injured after Webb's vehicle pinned him against the wall. At his first court appearance before Judge Vanessa Dixon, Webb's bad behavior continued. "Thank you. Let me, yes." Judge Dixon then informed Webb she was recusing herself from the trial because she knew the 2 jail employees he targeted with his vehicle. Watch again as Webb spit on the judge, charging. But this incident is far from the last time Bass Webb will spit in the face of the law. While waiting to go to trial, he and 4 other inmates incited a riot inside the Fayette County Detention Center. After being shot with beanbag bullets, hit in the neck by a pepper ball, Webb whips a metal telephone box at a corrections officer. Goodbye. We're to watch this at someone 10 feet away because this is capable of stopping that. Does not mean that that is not readily capable of causing death or serious physical injury. Webb was found guilty of 3rd-degree assault and sentenced to 15 years in prison, and for his attempt to run over the 2 jail employees. He was later found guilty of 2 counts of attempted murder and got an additional 37 years. Bass Webb was facing a total of 52 years behind bars, but more disturbing accusations were on the way. While incarcerated, he was charged with the unsolved murder of an ex-girlfriend, facing a possible death sentence if convicted at trial. Webb pled guilty to the murder and got an additional 50 years. Now, 5 years later, Bass Webb is back in court yet again after being charged with the murder of a different girlfriend nearly a decade earlier. A cold case came back to haunt him after a jailhouse tip led to the discovery of the woman's remains. This time, as he's let in, he reveals a new sinister look that shocks those in attendance. A closer look at Webb's recent head tattoos reveals a demented murder hit list. It reads, "Those that must die, all judges, all prosecutors, all cops, the media." Below that, 3 rats have been scratched out, and many more, plus an expletive on the other side. Gruesome details emerge about how Webb choked his then-girlfriend to death and buried her body in a shallow grave. "Mr. Webb, do you want to come forward?" When the judge asked Webb to come forward, he remained seated and smiled. Finally, after more than a week in the courtroom, the judge reads the jury's verdict. Webb is then sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years. Number 3. Wilton Watts. We're in Berea Municipal Court. The defendant, 21-year-old Wilton Watts, has turned himself in after a warrant was issued for his arrest for failure to appear on a domestic violence charge. "You were supposed to be here last month. You did not appear. Why weren't you here?" "My mom didn't show up. Somebody died in the family. There was no reason for me to be here." "Well, it's not an engraved invitation, son. It's a court order." Clearly off to a rocky start between Watts and Judge Chris Green, but Watts seems comfortable handling the situation on his own. Nope. Unfortunately for Watts, his grasp on the legal process seems spotty at best. You want to talk to me about a bond with me? What do you want to tell me about what bond? Who's known for his no-nonsense style, doesn't seem particularly receptive to the attitude. That's going to cost you 30 days in the county jail for contempt. Cuff him if you've got the cuffs. Hold on. It's a $5,000 cash surety bond subject to the temporary protection order. Watts's remarks have already cost him dearly, and now he doubles down. He just swore at the judge. I'm gonna give you a piece of advice. What? You can either make life easy, or you can make life hard. I already ruined my life. That's 60. Do you want to go for 90? That's not anymore. That's 306. I know, I gotta stop. How many days do you want to give me now? Are you sure? I'm in about a year right now. So Watts's mother and sister attempt to intervene, but there is no stopping the foul-mouthed tyrant. I don't care. Stop. Stop everybody up. Deputies and other court staff quickly arrive at the courtroom for backup. Ignorance. Despite the judge going all the way up to 360 days in the heat of the moment, once Watts calmed down, the judge ultimately decided to reduce the sentence to 90 days in jail, 4 days per four-letter word. For the initial domestic violence charge he was originally in court for, he later pled no contest and was sentenced to 5 days in jail. Number 2. Jacob Larson. We head now to Jackson, Michigan, to the Fourth Circuit Court. A personal protection violation hearing is on against this man, Jacob Larson. The defendant is accused of sending unwanted advances through Facebook messages to this woman seated here, a former high school acquaintance. This incident is a violation of a restraining order against Jacob Larson. This is the second time the judge questioned the defendant about his contact with the plaintiff. The same judge had issued the defendant's original PPO 4 months earlier. Fatal attraction, kind of stuff that I warned you about last time. I told you to just leave her alone. She was a classmate of yours. She currently has no interest in someone's her to tell me to leave her alone. You know what? I told you to leave. And apparently that didn't clear. So today you're going to jail for 3. And the next time you violate it, you're going to jail. You got a bad attitude. You had a bad attitude last time. Do you want more? Okay, you got it, buddy. Buddy, y'all get along. Y'all are 45 days county jail. Okay, 93 days in the county jail. Do you want to go for a year, or try it right now? One more word out of you. It'll be a year. Accounting over Facebook, over violations of my PPO and your conduct. Right in 3 days and counting. The judge, clearly agitated by the defiant defendant, is sending him to jail. Stand up. You're going to jail for a year in accounting. 365 days county jail. Thank you. Larson is sentenced to 93 days in county jail. Number 1. Ebony Burks. Next, we go to a bond hearing in Elyria, Ohio. Appearing remotely as the defendant, Ebony Burks. She's charged with misdemeanor assault and domestic violence against her grandfather, Shedrick McRae, and his companion. At the bench is Judge Gary Bennett. Good morning, Miss Burks. Good morning. After reading the charges, the judge asks Burks how she'd like to plead. You have 3 pleas available to you today: guilty, not guilty, and no contest. What plea would you enter? Another thing. So far so good. The judge sets a bond for the 2 charges at $15,000. His only condition is that Burks not be in contact with the victims, which could be difficult since she shares a home with McRae. No contact means you can't call him, you can't write them, you can't text him, you can't email him, can't leave a message on some social media. You can't go visit them. If you go someplace, even though you may have arrived first and one of them shows up, you have to leave, telling you you can't go home. If you live with Mr. McRae, you cannot return to that residence. I just did. Well, I bet I do. Well then, you're in contempt, young lady, and you've got 30 days. So you're not doing it. You're not. What? Get that. Get back. It looks like Burks may be finished. Hold on, she's coming back. Nothing. We'll talk in 6 months when you're ready to come back for your case. That's 200 days. You got anything else to say, Miss Burks? That's 300 days. Though she racked up 300 days, Burks only ended up serving 88. So this is the end of our today's video. Do you like it? Kindly give your valuable response in our comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting and informative videos.